let me get this out of the way, straight up. Most, if not all, videos about unused content in video games are repurposed, regurgitated video narrations of already existing articles from the cutting room floor. And even its co-founder xkeeper knows this. They made 2 live streams essentially breaking down why videos like these are plagiarism. And to prove my point, the article I've written is listed as a reference, sure, but I'm not mentioned in the video one bit. He's obviously not obligated to do so, but it's still a sign of respect, like some form of courtesy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Surely I don't mind it, but that shouldn't prevent him from doing it, to put it bluntly. Because when he has the balls to say that Tenkaichi 3 is one of his favorite games, only to make 2 videos about it in comparison to the many videos he's made about Xenoverse 2, I mean, if you want to be a liar, at least be a good liar, because people are not going to eat this up. They already ate up the insane prototype, or whatever you put in the title, and calling it a dive into the icy waters when you're already taking the piss all over it. So it's not even icy anymore. And it can't be a dive, surely, because you're just poking your foot out. I've already done all the swimming here. So I knew from the beginning that his video wouldn't really have much insight of his own. At most, he would just improvise a few reasons, somewhat speculative, as to why things were the way they were in the Taikenban. Or so he says, because in reality, he explores the prototype. He just mentions Taikenban because it's that cool sounding of a word that he has to put an accent on.
This Taikenban.
Wow, you fooled me there. You could have just said that it means trial version and that it's the Japanese version of the game. Instead, he just boots up the English version since he couldn't find a download for the Taikenban in TCRF. He could have looked elsewhere, surely, but he just went with whatever was in Hidden Palace. Good for him. Good for him for correcting his mistakes in post instead of just abandoning that video altogether, knowing that the video narration is useless when you already say in the video
it would just take hours, days to go over all the changes.
At that point, it's not even a narration, it's a summary. Like, how do you even screw that up? He couldn't even get a cheat code to work.
With the use of an action replay, you're able to unlock the rest of the characters. However, unfortunately, through my many hours of trying to test this code, I could not get it to work.
I mean, it's on the site, you just download it, put it on the cheats folder of your emulator, and make sure its file name is the same as the CRC used by the emulator to detect what kind of game it is. And like you point out in the video,
this game is actually internally referred to as Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2. This is of course because the game was built off of BT2.
But nonetheless, it doesn't really matter since it's best for him not to explain these things in detail like I just did. It doesn't really bring in the viewers, you know. What does bring viewers, however, is glazing over Majin Vegeta's Rush Key Wave being purple instead of yellow, and also being called Energy Storm, which, funnily enough, is the name of the follow-up, not the name of the rushing technique. And even then, since we're on the topic of gameplay here, he goes on to mention that
the final explosion does not kill you.
Even though, at that point, it's no different from any other super explosive wave that also happens to be an ultimate blast, like say Super Saiyan Broly's or Perfect Cells. It literally is no different since I already mentioned this for the throws, but it applies to many other things, that the game uses placeholder parameters. It is a prototype after all, it is meant to be unfinished. So why even go on and claim there's a meta?
This is of course insane and probably makes Vegeta S tier in the prototype meta.
Like, why even talk about gameplay at all? Is it to make yourself sound more clever? You're not even demonstrating it in the fucking video. You used Rush Key Wave over and over and over again, refusing to point out that it actually ends prematurely. Like, normally it would have knocked the opponent back, but it fails to do that because it is unfinished. You even say in the video,
the gameplay is extremely similar to the actual final build. The fighting system's are the exact same, the combos are the exact same, and the game overall feels very similar to the final game.
Not one word about dash smashes or jump smashes. Like, he didn't even fix that in post. He did mention the absence of boosts, given that there is no sound for it in the prototype, and so they weren't there for the previous game, surely. But he had to say that after screenshotting the fact. He'd be better off just reading the entire article verbatim. He doesn't even need to record footage. Like, whatever he did record for the video was poorly shot anyway. Like, you can clearly see his cursor there, and you can also see how badly misplaced the glows are for Super Saiyan characters. Like, forget the cheat codes, but you can't even set up the emulator properly. He did make a video about Infinite World, so I figured he knew how, but I guess not. Is it really too much to ask for some form of effort in a video like this? It's probably unscripted anyway, much like this ramble of mine, but at the very least, know what the fuck you're talking about. Convince me, the guy whose words you're reading, that your video is actually worth a shit.
Now, this video would not be possible without the cutting room floor dictating all these changes.
Like, I'm buying that gratitude. For one, it's not the cutting room floor as in the entire site working on this one article. And if it weren't for that site, I would have published these changes elsewhere. I mean, it's that simple on the internet. I think I did so on Pastebin. Who gives a fuck? And two, it's not just me who can play the game and find out these changes. You can be one of them. Like, what's stopping you from just playing the game and recording yourself doing it like you did at the end of the video? What's stopping you from making your video your video? I didn't see anything else like this on YouTube. I mean, did Punk7890's video not make it in your recommended or something? He did make a video about the actual Taikenban once he got his hands on it, and there was no commentary, sure, but he did point out the differences in the descriptions, and they're actually demonstrated for the most part. He's no Beta 64 either, but even then he still got my attention, as opposed to yours. You're just following the steps of every other Dragon Ball YouTuber, because that's what it takes to succeed on this platform, I guess. If not for you, somebody else could have made this video, and it would have turned out just as bad. And my sanity is running out, so with that I'm gonna end this whole spiel. Sayonara.